going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Project Manga Podcast, where we cover One Piece, My Hero, Black Clover, Marshall, Chainsaw Man, Jujutsu Kaisen, week to week.
Hey.
Back this week covering the Weekly Shonen Jump issue number 44. I'm your host, Eagle.
What up, y'all? It's Kiko.
What's up, guys? It's Nox.
And Nickums.
And as always, before we get started, we'd like to say, go ahead and visit that link tree in the description box down below where you can find links to any and all of our online communities, audio listening platforms to consume the podcast on, as well as links to support the podcast if you would be so kind, such as links to our, Patreon. You can check that out. Obviously, you can subscribe to different tiers of extra content that we release, ranging from early access to our content, on YouTube and stuff like that, all the way up to a second Shonen Century. And also, while you're down there, you can find timestamps to the segments so that if you are only current in some of the books, you can skip spoilers.
Yes.
And with all that said, how you guys feeling about this weekend jump? Like,
Amazing week.
All of the mangaka got together at the bar or some shit and was like, let's press the button next week. Yeah.
It's
like
time.
Oda, we gotta hold it down for Oda.
Yeah.
I don't get how they do it.
I don't fucking
know.
either.
Well, what the hell's going on with Oda anyway? Because I heard he was sick, but then like a couple days later, I heard I don't know if it was just a phony ass fucking headline, but it was like, oh, Oda makes miraculous recovery and is feeling better now. I'm like, so what's up with this chapter, my G? Like, come on.
Where am I?
Come on with
I
it.
need my 19 pages.
Yo, what's up?
Yeah, I don't know, man. And it's crazy. It's like, I'm trying to think, we've been reading Weekly Shonen Jump for a long time. And it's like, when was the last time that every single series was in such a climactic point in their story, such an important point?
I feel like it's happened a few times this year, but
I feel like
but this
earlier in our podcasting career here, we've said this multiple times.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah.
We have actually.
mean,
it's just always been like this kind of.
I mean, we're just lucky with Shibuya Incident is basically every chapter slaps. Chainsaw Man, every chapter slaps. It's we're just lucky. We're lucky to be here with all these great stories, man. I'm super hyped.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
Good shit. So, without further ado, let's jump right into chapter 124 of Jujutsu Kaisen,
Yes.
the Shibuya Incident Part 42.
Yes, sir.
it is so satisfying to see Yuji beat the shit out of Mahito.
Oh my god, it's so good. In the back too, like, and then in the front too, like,
Yeah. The Rokugan. That's
yeah.
Like,
That is what it looks like.
Rokugan.
Rokugan.
So tight.
Yeah, dude, that's very
tight.
good. I wonder if that's a Taito martial, but definitely very sick to see. Very
the
satisfying.
panel, it's this first page, and then it goes from this panel of the double Mahito with the nail above his head,
Yeah.
right to this one where he's mid-face punch, and dude, I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And then he just starts driving him into the fucking pillar, like Nickam said, man, that shit was just
Ooh, feels so good.
And then coming right out of that flurry, where he beats the fucking shit out of Mahito, we get this dialogue here.
His
from
inner
Yuji.
monologue.
His inner monologue where he's like, I couldn't save anyone, I wasted everyone's efforts, but thank you for showing me that I'm not alone. You know what I'm saying? This hit pretty hard because we know
and
that
his
Yuji's
smile on his face in that
Yeah, the smile on his face
Hell
is huge because we know that Yuji's grandfather's dying words were super important to Yuji, and it's really become one of the most important recurring themes inside of Jujutsu Kaisen, I feel like. So having Nobara there in this fight with Yuji is huge, and especially because everything that Yuji's gone through emotionally and psychologically going into this fight, Nobara being there with Yuji in this high stakes battle with their lives on the line is super heartwarming, because we know that Yuji is always thinking about death and the words that his grandfather said to him, and being surrounded by people that mean something to you at your time of death, and knowing that Nobara's got his back there and seeing that grin on Yuji's face is just super wholesome in that moment.
Yep.
Well, it's how many chapters has it been since we've seen Yuji smile? It just feels good to see the smile. I mean, it's I don't know, heartwarming. We needed it because Yuji, I mean, it's way too soon. Or I don't know, maybe for him to like fall completely into despair, like it would have been hard for me to see. I mean, obviously he's not out of the weeds yet with you know, all this inner strife he has going on. Yeah. But it's good to see that he's not getting totally sucked in, because it would seem like it would be easier for Sukuna to take him over if that's the case, right? Like,
right.
You know, the farther into despair he falls, even if that's not been stated that that's how it works, that's just kind of how it works in shonen manga, right?
Yeah.
So
your willpower is lessened because you care about you know, care less about preserving yourself or whatever. And he's not like smiling super big here, right?
No.
Yeah, it's just
like
a little
very-
grin. It's like a
like
little
grin.
Hey, my homegirl with me.
Yeah. So I think he's still feeling it, but he's coming out of it, which feels really good.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a really important question. Well, no, I think I'll wait. Let's go. Let's just go.
I think I might know your question, but let's keep going.
I think you do know my question, don't you? Well, let's just ask it. Fuck it.
Yeah,
Who's no bar? Who's no bars, man?
She
Let's just
totally
get it
looks
out
like
of
an
the way.
ice climber's main.
Hammers.
Yeah.
She got the hammers.
Yeah.
I said chic because of the nails. I was like, throwing needles and shit, and she's physical and fast and shit. So
She's
like,
playing Super Smash Brothers in the flashback at the end.
Brawl on the
She's playing
Wii.
Brawl on the Wii.
Because it's 2008 or 9. What is it? Yeah, it's definitely the right
2009.
time too.
Yeah.
9. Yep.
If you like,
Right
if you
time.
zoom in on the character, like the little health
You can
boxes
see
or whatever.
it. Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
one is Meta Knight. I feel like the middle one is Meta Knight, but I can't tell the left.
You're right. The middle one is Jigglypuff.
Left one's Jigglypuff.
Yeah, that's definitely
Fuck,
Meta Knight
actually,
in the
the
middle.
right one looks like Jigglypuff too. Actually. So yeah, I would say since no bar's in the middle, I'm just gonna put her at player 2, which means
Right.
Meta Knight is her main. Which to me, that's fucked up. No bar. Meta Knight's banned. Meta Knight's OP banned officially. Come on, I thought you were better than that. Come on, like you're my favorite in this stuff. No, hey,
Yeah,
at
but
the end
she's
of
like
day-
the super sadistic, like maniac like type. You know what I'm saying? So
Well,
like, I can see her
and
being
whatever.
like, "Yeah, kill you with Meta Knight over and over and over again, tornado."
And she's 6. Give her the
Yeah,
OLED character.
yeah.
That makes sense
Exactly.
too.
She's
Yeah.
still losing. She's still losing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess this guy is her dad or whatever.
Yeah.
Just
that is not the
flashback,
question I thought you were going to ask. Actually,
What's the question? you
Okay.
thought?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if the question I thought you were going to ask is about like the very end of this fight.
Yeah.
so
I
we
can't
can-
wait to talk about that.
Let's get back to
Of course, that's the big question. I wanted to get the troll question out.
Yeah.
Here.
Well, going
Sure.
going back to the beginning of the chapter, I mean, after what we've been talking about with like Yuji's like internal dialogue, talking about how he's glad that Nobara is there. Nobara deciding to chase Mahito here was definitely very cool. I love her reasoning in this scene. It shows more of her combat IQ, and I love how her confidence, is there coming out of the resonance and feeling like she can just exercise Mahito on the way to B5F. But at the same time, I feel like this scene kind of shows her inexperience as well. At the same time, because she never considered the possibility that she could be being led into a trap or something like that, or that Mahito could have like people, you know what I'm saying, like right around the corner to jump her, you know what I'm saying, like when she gets around there. So she just, balls to the wall, chase this motherfucker like down a subway, you know what I mean? Like, no, I would probably be a little bit more apprehensive personally.
For sure too.
But I just love her. I love how gung ho she is, and I'm constantly like moving like into like Mahito now. Like I feel like Gege is just like consistently impressing me all the time with the way that antagonists and villains are handled in this series. Like Gege does a really good job of showing development on the antagonist, side of things along with the protagonist side. So like usually villains are handled, like where they're such a huge threat in like every way. You know what I mean? So like much stronger, experienced, than the protagonist. And whenever the author does, have the protagonist surprise or get the upper hand on the villain, we see a response from that villain that shows their experience. Or when the author is showing the reader new abilities or tactics from the villain, like it always feels like something that they always had up their sleeve. You know what I mean? But like with this scene with Mahito assessing the situation and like making the decision to run, you can tell this decision was thought of like kind of like on the fly, like a light bulb going off.
and he's growing.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Which for Mahito's character, considering the way that they've been handled, throughout the series so far, feels like an in the moment, like mid combat growth inside of Mahito's character, which is
it's
like,
crazy
really cool
how
to see.
you get all that. Plus, it's hilarious at the same time. It just hits him. He's like, actually, peace, bitch. And just,
Yeah,
I was dead, dude. I was dying my ass off.
It's very like the Joker. You know what I'm saying? It's very you know like that. You know. And now Batman, all yeah. You know, and you can just tell that Mahito is like one of like
Joseph.
You could just tell that Mahito is one of Gege's like favorite characters. Yeah, because like. I don't know, Gege just goes so hard on the Mahito shapeshifting, I feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can tell Gege probably has the time of their life drawing Mahito.
Oh, yeah,
like,
for sure.
Some of the most fun and, like, inventive shapeshifting that I've personally seen in manga so far. The little bean guys. The little balls, like,
That was so good,
and then the panel where they were, like, coming back into him, where, like, one, like, his eyes all, like, out of its socket, like, morphing back in. His arms are, like, getting reconstructed by the dudes. Like, it's,
Yeah, and it's just really good to see the feint too. Like I'm gonna put like that Mahito can do this. I'm gonna put a big surge of cursed energy in one of my whatever little balls. Little mutant guys. And you know, mislead, which it's definitely going to be a thing he's going to use in the future, which Yuji will grow and I think eventually he'll be able to see through, because you can even kind of see him like. It's just kind of like feels like a guy's almost that he's going to develop, you know, like just intuition type thing maybe.
Yeah. You think this would be something that we'd see a lot of the characters develop eventually later? Like
Yuji's like senses the cursed energy in this one, but he's like hits this one over here, and he's like,
I can see it for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
So. I was saying, I mean, we're getting kind of to the big point here. Well, I guess I should say when the two Mahitos crossed, I damn near shit my pants.
Like,
as soon as they crossed, you're like, the real one's going for Nobara. You're just like, oh my god. I'm just but like, and then Yuji one shots Mahi too. You know, like it was like,
bust his fucking skull open.
I saw people, since we're doing this a day later, you know, you get to see a little bit more on the timeline. I saw somebody saying this kind of cheapens Nobara's fight with Mahito, that Yuji can just one shot it. And it's just like that's
I'm
going
cool with
too
Yuji
far.
being stronger than Nobara right now, though.
Well, anyway. That's like it's
exactly.
Not
there's a lot of reason
anger in that situation too. Like he's completely unhinged because he knows what the fuck is about to happen.
Oh, yeah, he has 15 fingers now.
15 fingers now.
And Mahito was not paying attention. Mahito was like looking over his shoulder, like "fuck yeah, that just worked."
Yeah,
and then he gets smashed when he's not looking. Like if Nobara had a free hit, she'd knock his head too.
That was after she was touched. So like he's pissed. Like he's he's like, you're in my way, literally. He's just
absolutely.
Yeah. And I love how Gege like gives us that flashback with Mahito where it was like, I wasn't able to kill Nanami with one touch.
Right.
So let's see if I can kill Nobara with one touch. So where if Nobara does survive the transfiguration or the transmogrification like tap, then like that's there to kind of like remind people like someone has already survived one of these before. This is not an ass pull. That Nobara is surviving this because it couldn't kill Nanami either. You know what I'm saying? Like we have an example of this not being 100% effective. So
and I don't remember the circumstances around why it didn't affect Nanami as much, and maybe there wasn't a lot of dialogue on it. But I felt like it was just kind of like his will and his soul was too strong to be affected by it.
I think Mahito was just too young back then, and Nanami was just too cold for him. To kill with one shot, and we know that Mahito is like considerably more capable now than he was, you know, like back then. So this is a cool experiment for Mahito to do, to kind of like test himself, but also remind us in case Nobara does survive, which I think that she very well will, that it's not, you know, weird that she did, because we have an example of this not being 100% effective.
We don't know if 2 touches would have killed Nanami either. It could have been 10 touches. You have no idea. You know, like so it's. Yeah,
I think we can assume based on that dialogue.
Yeah,
but you're totally right that we don't know the number.
Yeah. I mean, it's just really hard to say, because again, I guess I don't remember the full circumstances around it. But if it was just like based on how strong the soul was, there could have been a huge range of different things, different outcomes there. You know, so yeah.
No, now this brings up my question that I was going to ask or whatever. So I'm trying to think of a way. How does Nobara get out of this, right? Like, and assuming she is low level enough that one touch should kill her, right?
Yeah.
So here's my question: since Mahito has touched her, activated his ability that allows him to be connected to her soul and transmogrify her at a distance, doesn't this mean she can use resonance, aka sympathy or whatever, against herself to immediately hurt Mahito? She'll have to take a damage, obviously, but like I wouldn't be surprised if right now she just immediately, before he even does it, slams herself and it actually hurts him. Like
that's what I was thinking too. She nails right in her face, puts a nail dead in her face. Boom.
Yeah,
and a couple of but to nail herself with this nail, it's just, I guess actually maybe I'll ask this question first. Do you think it's possible in a Hawkins-esque way to transfer the damage to dolls, at this point, which we haven't seen yet? Like, is it possible that that's something that she's going to do? But I think there's going to be so much more significance here, because we had between her fight and Momo, the flying broom girl, she got smacked, crushed right in the side of the face with the broom, the butt end of the broom, and had a big ass, welt or whatever wound on her face. And that's when she had all that dialogue about, like, Momo's telling her, you have to be skill matters definitely in the jujutsu world, but for men, that's the only thing that matters. But for women, your skill and your beauty have to both be top tier. So you have to be perfect in every way to be a female jujutsu sorcerer. And getting, hit in her face, she had all that. I love being beautiful and I love being strong. Like I can do everything.
Yeah, that was some of the
get
best
you a girl who
dialogue
can
for
do
Nobara.
both in the same side of the face. So she took 2 attacks on her left side of the face, the same side that Mahito is grabbing.
Oh.
So I believe she is going to get scarred, and there will be a lasting scar.
Would love to see
with the
that.
nail that she's going to nail herself, but the nail isn't going to be the scar, because it's going to be just a hole. But I think like it's going to begin to transfigure, and she stops it basically by nailing herself in the face, but has a remaining scar to last, and which would be great because Yuji's probably going to keep his scar. But then all that stuff about being beautiful, which, who knows if Momo really knows what she's talking about. You got Utahime out here with a big ass scar on her face, and it's not like she's any less capable because of it. So it's like, it's hard to like really go off that, but it'd just be a good callback, same side of the face, having a lasting scar. I think for her character too, to really own that scar and to really like be prideful of it, coming from, she's just a very unique character. Like she can be girly and still kind of.
I could definitely see her owning that damage and being definitely very like, so what about it? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you gonna do? Like, I'm gonna beat your ass anyway. You know what I'm saying? And you say whatever you want about it, but you're catching this fade. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I think that would be cool. If she does get a scar, I feel like that would be really cool for her character, just because I feel like you don't see too many female characters are enjoying with an eye patch. There's like an agenda from fucking a
Quan Chi.
Quan Chi also has an eye patch. That's right. I forgot about that. But like, it's just a rare thing, I feel like, and it's always cool.
Yeah.
I feel like we're gonna see a reversal here. I feel like we're gonna see reverse curse technique here, just because I'm thinking of like, if like, okay, because we're going into a flashback right now. She gets tapped on the face. We're like, oh no, people are saying it's a death flag. I definitely understand why. Nobara is not going to die. Like, I'm sorry.
Right.
Like, Nobara is not going to die.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of how, like Nick, trying to think of how she gets out of the damage. And if she, like, and usually whenever you get a flashback, it's either you're going to get development, you're going to get a power up, or you're going to die. So I'm thinking in this situation, if she does get a domain expansion right here, that would be crazy. It would mean that she would probably have to have beaten that damage in some kind of way, but probably still keep it. Like her face is just half transfigured, like where she stopped the damage, and it has to stay that way. And it's just like,
that'd be crazy.
Yeah, that would be
bubbly
fucking crazy.
Eye?
Yeah, like a
Hanging
bubbly
out?
eye. Yeah, a little Cosmo going on, a little Cosmo double going on.
Halloween.
But Halloween. But yeah, I could either see it like that. But like if her summoning a domain expansion right here after her flashback, that would be raw. But I don't see how that stops the damage. Unless, oh wait, no, because when you expand your domain, techniques don't work anymore unless they counter expand.
Yeah.
So that could okay, so it could be a situation where it's starting to transfigure, but then she expands, cuts the technique off, and then like she keeps that damage of when it was transfiguring her, which obviously heals the damage and might be able to apply like a positive energy effect to Mahito, which obviously, if it is like a positive energy kind of like situation, since we already have, you know, confirmation that it does exist in this world with the Mahoraga and Sukuna fight, then seeing Nobara get that energy first would be huge for her character. But if it is just a reversal, and she does just heal herself, then that's massive too for her character. So yeah.
So you mentioned in the domain, that was going to be my troll answer, because like, what would her domain expansion be? Would it just be like the tools aisle at fucking Home Depot, or like, what, you know, like?
No, it'd be that shit that Itachi caught Kakashi lacking in.
Where he gets stabbed.
On the cross, crucified on the cross for fucking 900 years or however long.
Or it's like fucking Senbon Sakura, where you got the fucking needles coming from every which way.
Oh my god.
Crazy shit. Needles and nails coming from every which way. She's just like manipulating shit like law.
Yeah.
Got nails coming up at your ass.
But I feel like each member of the trio has like a situation inside of their combat that is like, it's like a rock, paper, scissors kind of situation, like checks and balances almost. You know what I mean? Where Yuji has 15 fingers and he has Sukuna host, obviously. That's a really big deal. Megumi has half of a domain expansion, but really just has Mahoraga now. Potentially, we don't know. But I mean, like if that is a situation for him, then like that is entirely his own thing that makes him stand out inside of the trio, is just Mahoraga by itself. If it's not Mahoraga, then it's just half of this domain that he has, and we can assume that it's going to become complete eventually. But if it is just half a domain in Mahoraga, and then Yuji has Sukuna with 15 fingers, Nobara gets a full domain, then she's still different. You know what I mean? If she gets a full domain here, but she's also, I feel like it would be better if she just gets reversal Jutsushiki here, so that she has reversal, Megumi has a domain, Yuji has Sukuna, and then it's not, you know, repeating, you know, cool shit, you know, among the three. Yeah, I like
reversal like halfway, only because the female characters are a lot of the time relegated to healing roles, and I just don't want it to be that. I want her to just total badass, nail herself in the face, and tank that shit and beast out of it. Like,
enhances her combative abilities, where she can use self healing to like be even more of a tank.
Yeah, it's definitely cool. But Kiko is saying
that's perfect for her.
It is perfect for her.
It's just the Naruto thing where all the women are healers, right?
Yeah, like and that's not just Naruto either.
No, she's gonna be like, bitch, I ain't healing nobody.
Yeah, I'll heal myself.
Sure.
I think
I'm nurse. The fuck you think this is, recovery girl, bitch? No,
that makes sense.
Blood
recovery girl, another good example. But yeah, no, it does make a lot of sense what you're saying too.
Nurse Jenny.
Nurse Jenny. No. Nurse Joy.
Nurse Joy. Yeah.
Officer
You're fired.
But no, it makes a lot of sense what Eagle is saying, because only Shoko is the only one that can do reversal on other people. So that does make sense that, you know, reversal Jutsushiki for Nobara could just be used in an offensive way, or I mean, just to mitigate damage, whatever, to especially if there is more opportunities for her to use sympathy, resonance on herself, something like that, you know. So that definitely would be good for sure.
I also feel like her getting reversal here might then clue us into, like, why was there that scene like one chapter ago, maybe 2 chapters ago, where Nobara was like, people were talking to Nobara, Nito was talking to Nobara and saying like, we didn't tell you Shoko was here because we thought you'd just go on a rampage because you knew there'd be a healer, right? And like, why have that specific dialogue for Nobara and not anyone else mentioning Shoko by name or whatever? And it's like, okay, maybe it's because, right?
Yeah.
And so maybe she already kind of knows that she could maybe do it, pulls it out right here for the first time.
So then we go into the flashback of her young, and then coming out of that young flashback is like the last conversation she had with Shoko before the incident started.
Sure, something like that.
She's like giving her information about reversal. Yeah.
I mean, I think what you said initially makes a lot of sense, where they're just kind of like basing it off of how she's come back from confrontations in the past. We're like, we can't let this bitch know that there's a healer here because she's going to fuck herself up.
Yeah.
Like,
no, for sure.
in the fight with Choso's brothers, you know, when she fucking like put a bunch of nails in herself and shit.
Yeah.
Shit was nuts.
She don't care. She will kill herself to get the job done. Love that.
Yeah.
Love that about her.
Yeah. So talking about the flashback here, we finally get to see Saori.
Yes.
Saori is her friend from in her village, and basically she ran away from the village, her friend. That's all the info that we have on her. The country bumpkins talk mad shit about her because she's from the city, and only Nobara, you know, like respected her for, you know, like numerous reasons that you barely get to kind of see a little bit of that. And that's like the 6th, 7th chapter. Something this is really, really early that she talks about Saori.
I saw a really cool theory.
I
saw a really cool theory online the other day that said, like, what if Saori is another personality inside of Nobara? And that Saori is like not even a real person in Nobara, because like we get this dialogue here in the flashback where she was like, back then I thought everyone in the village was weird and that I was the only sane person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like that could go a couple different ways. One thought that I had was that she can see curses and no one else can. So she's like, well, no one else can fucking see these things. Like, the fuck is wrong with you guys? There's a giant fucking monster like right here. You know, like I could see it being, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe Saori is just like a figment of Nobara's imagination and is, you know, like the representation of like the kind of girl that she wishes she was, a city girl. You know what I'm saying? She wants to go to the city. Saori is a city girl that came to the country. You know what I'm saying? It could be like, this is, you know, the kind of person, I'm tired of living this bumpkin, like backwater, you know, flea bottom lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to be this Saori chick, you know? Yeah.
But so a couple of things against that. A, there's a third controller and a third player playing. So that'd be weird. But then back there,
unless
all the way,
that's
whatever,
still her figment of her imagination. You know, if we're seeing
CPU player,
if we're seeing this from Nobara's point of view.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But the dialogue, I had to pull it back up from, or it's an inner monologue that she's thinking about back on that chapter. She says, when I was in 1st grade, Saori moved to our village from Tokyo. She was as cute as a doll and as kind as a nun. Yeah. But the people in the village ostracized her. They said that she looked down on us country folk. Yeah. They made her out to be a bad person and drove her out of the village, and it was sickening. And sure, that's still
unless she was talking about her. It's talking about Nobara herself. Yeah.
It says also she would treat me to all these homemade sweets I've never tried before, and she would give them to me with a smile on her face, saying it's probably not as good as that bakery. Which that's really it. That there was from that. So, but that doesn't.
As long as the information is coming from Nobara herself, then it could still be.
That still could be that
schizophrenia. Yeah.
That would be pretty. I feel like I feel like it's a stretch.
Yeah, it's pretty stretchy. Could be. I mean, you never know. We literally the information is very vague on Nobara's past. So if Gege wanted to write that in, like, there's a lot of really easy ways to make that make sense storytelling wise. Yeah. So
I'm trying to think like what would be the point of showing this flashback in this scene against Mahito if that were the hook, like that. Saori was like just another personality within Nobara. Could it be that Mahito can't transmogrify Nobara because he's hitting Saori instead or whatever?
It's like a dual soul situation.
A dual soul, so he hit the wrong soul or something. I'm trying to think, what would be the connection here, right?
Dude, that would be some shit, bro.
What if he could like manifest her into an actual physical being then outside of Nobara?
Oh,
and then there's like some kind of mental, I don't know.
Yo, he transfigures a human to look like Saori.
Alternate personality,
yeah.
But this flashback, this was some real shit for me, man. Because back in 2009, man, this was literally me, bro.
Yeah, you getting spanked by me every day. Big spanks by me and Kiko. Me and Kiko would come over and put the paws on you.
I would whoop everybody except Kiko. And I'll put that on my fucking life.
And you would always run up and grab the best controller with the other 3 trash. You'd always make sure you had that.
I brought my controller.
Yeah, you had to bring a controller.
I bring my controller.
You were always right behind me, grabbing that same bunk ass controller. We ain't gonna get into it.
Yeah.
Noxie's a hoe. He's lying. He got his ass spanked on fucking Smash. Falco didn't want the smoke.
Twitch Super Smash Brothers, Project Manga Super Smash Brothers tournament. I'll see you.
Yo, give me a month or two to brush back up on my shit.
Oh, I'm ready right now. That's crazy how that works. That's wild. I yeah, going back.
You're honest.
Yeah, going back
honest,
to the chapter though.
But yeah,
this hit.
I'm super worried. I'm super worried, but I don't think. I guess I don't think we have to be worried because, like you say, I don't think Nobara's going to die. Yeah. But she could, I guess.
Ooh, there was another theory that I just remembered now, where someone said that this is the same village that
Geto massacred.
That Geto massacred. I just remembered that.
I saw that too.
Yeah, I saw that too. And before it made it held a little bit more water back when like the person who tweeted it said like, "Yo, it's the same year as like Geto's massacre." You know what I'm saying? And they had a screenshot that said it was 2009 in the Geto scene, but the official translation was actually 2007. So that was a Janini's Box translation that they got the 2009 Geto scene from back in Premature Death. But it's actually 2007. But while that 2009 comparison was still hitting, it was like, and it's the same village. You know what I'm saying? And there were two pictures of the same village, and I was like, if Nobara was in the village that Geto or she left because of, but I feel like if she left because of, then we would have heard that in her character already. Maybe not, but like if there is a link between like Geto and Nobara in that way a little bit later, that would be really fucking cool. I love when like major villains have issues or have motivations that are related to female characters. All the curses were still together before they split up. Choso was like, I'm just trying to get Yuji and Nobara because they killed my fucking brothers. Like, if I run into Yuji first, cool. If I run into Nobara first, whatever. But either way, it's smoke. If I see any of them, I want revenge against Nobara and Yuji. And it was just cool because I feel like you never hear of an antagonist or a villain wanting revenge or have motivations for against female leads. You know what I'm saying? So that would be really cool. Yeah. And then if they tie that back around again to Geto, then that would be some shit, man.
Yeah. I when I saw that and I saw those, and I was just like, I'm pretty confident most Japanese or rural villages look the same, right?
Yeah,
they look very similar.
I mean, we've all watched Inuyasha, right? They got the big old water beds in between the crops.
Yeah. And for someone who pays as close attention to environments and like
that is the crops.
And, But for a mangaka like Gege who pays really close attention to the world around the characters, like you can literally grab, like we've seen them. You know what I'm saying? Like actual real world picture equivalents of panels from Jujutsu Kaisen inside of the city of Tokyo. You know what I'm saying? So it's like for someone who pays that close of attention to that, you would think that if there was any kind of like hard connection between this village and Geto's village, that maybe it would look a little bit more spot on. I don't know.
But maybe some landmark that you can see in both of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man.
Yeah.
What a chapter, though. Yeah, that's all I had, too.
Yeah.
Well,
fingers crossed for a big butt clench when the fucking Mahito switched. And I'm really fucking hoping that we see a domain or a reversal from Nobara. Very confident that she's not dead next chapter. Or any chapter.
I don't think so.
She's not dying in this confrontation. So
and
relax,
if she
Nobara
does
fans.
Die, man.
If she does die here, that's crazy. But it's not happening.
Gonna break.
Yeah, you can't just keep
especially
killing
after
this
that inner monologue. He
just
just has that inner monologue. Thanks for showing me I'm not alone, and then she dies in front of his eyes.
No.
They're just thinking about like her domain at Home Depot that was cracking me up today. Like, 'cause I was thinking of Ron Swanson too. Like,
he doesn't even say He doesn't even say that. He literally tells him. He just goes, I know more than you do.
Yeah.
Doesn't say anything else. The dude just goes.
All right. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
All right.
Hell yeah.
Well, then, with that, I think we can go ahead and get right into chapter 87 of Chainsaw Man. The horrifying... No, wait. Chainsaw Man versus the horrifying whipping humans.
This was some shit, bro.
Yes.
Ponzu tweeted
I was going to say I should probably address that. Yes.
Yeah.
I just have to say that not only Ponzu, but I mean Ponzu definitely went the hardest on talking about this theory. I'm not in America, so in a global conquest against each other to have their plight win world dominance.
Yeah.
So
who says that's not the case?
Could still be the case.
These are the weapon devils. These are the weapon devils, and there's the four horsemen. And here is Earth.
Yep.
She said you fought the weapon devils and the four horsemen who are now here.
Right. Like, on this plane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the weapon devils, these are all the weapon devils. This is Chainsaw Man versus the horrifying human weapons.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
yeah, so the four horsemen are
they are not humans, devils, or fiends.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I mean, I agree that you could definitely consider this statement, you fought the weapon devils and the four horsemen who are now here, as being
in four of these guys are horsemen
within this 10-foot radius or this 100-foot radius, like here.
Yeah.
But I think you could also say that it's here in this plane of existence where you are and all the weapon hybrids are.
Okay. Yeah, obviously they're all weapon devils, which when we're calling them weapon devils, it's like, aren't they hybrids? And is that the word that was erased from... I'm sure there's another word, right? Like, I don't think it was hybrid. Well, and I kind of want to, it's like, I want to know, right?
Yeah.
Tell me the fucking word.
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of starting to hate this aspect of, like, eating shit and erasing it from existence.
And then we never know what it was.
These things.
Yeah.
The fuck.
Yeah.
But I do think the word is, maybe it's not the word hybrid, but what it is, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I didn't support it.
Definitely. Yes,
Four Horsemen thing was definitely super, super, super clutch. You know?
Yes, absolutely. Because there was no mention of a Four Horsemen situation in the series before this chapter. So for Kiko to come out and say, like, I think this is what's going on, and then for us to get confirmation of that to some degree in the next chapter or the next couple chapters is a big deal.
Yeah.
So bravo, Kiko.
Well, and it was about, I want to say it's like 3 chapters, because it was the choirs of angels were introduced. That's when I came up with the theory, because of the choirs of angels, like that,
and then you had like
my train of thought went.
Yeah, and then you had those other, like when Kishibe's team was originally attacking a couple chapters ago beforehand.
Yeah.
You had the scene where Makima was talking about Seraphim and those
Cherubim
and Cherubim and whatnot.
Yeah.
So like equating it, I think I saw your thought process, that I saw the information that led to your Four Horsemen theory.
Definitely.
It's cool that we get a confirmation to some degree in this chapter.
So one more point in favor of Kiko. I don't think you are wrong at all based on this chapter. And that these 7 are not the Four Horsemen, because
especially because it doesn't match, right?
It doesn't match, right? Who would be War? Who would be what's the Hunger? And who would be whatever the other one is, right? Or like
Famine.
Famine is Hunger, right?
Oh yeah, so Famine is under
War,
Pestilence,
and
Conquest.
That's Conquest.
Death, right?
Yeah.
Death. Death, War, and Famine are none of these people.
Are good for war just because they're weapons,
right? But none of them are good for famine.
None of them, and death. None of them are good for famine or pestilence.
Yeah.
Well, Makima's pestilence.
Makima would be pestilence. Oh, she's a horseman herself.
Yeah, that was part of the theory. That pestilence is the new term that we use for the Fourth Horsemen, but that used to be conquest back in the day. It's like a long time ago.
That's right. I remember now.
So for the record, I still think you're correct.
Yeah, I think you're good, man.
Okay, all right. I'm still the best.
So,
Great.
Just to go over these like devils here, so we got the bomb devil, obviously we got the katana devil, we have the gun devil,
flamethrower,
flamethrower. Okay. Yeah, flamethrower. That makes sense. Yeah.
Whips.
The whip is what I thought as well, and then what, like spear? Oh yeah, spear devil. Yep, and then the arrow devil most likely, which is what.
That's what Quan Chi is, the bow and arrow devil over.
Then we have
now it's confirmed that Quan Chi is
the saber
bow and
devil.
arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a scimitar.
Yeah, that's a scimitar.
Yeah, when it's skinny. No. But like a broadsword is like
a broadsword is a double-edged, straight knight
blade.
Yeah,
is it straight?
Sword,
I thought that was a great sword.
Greatsword is a
different.
bigger
That's a bigger
broadsword.
version of a greatsword is a two-handed heavy ass
Western sword. Like they decided to
You're
make
totally
it
right. Yeah.
broadsword,
Katana
bastard sword,
versus
whatever you want to
Western
call it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Knight sword, whatever.
Yeah.
yeah.
Very happy that they included flamethrower.
Yeah, spears were a
Yeah,
really
those-
big deal, even though they're not as big of a deal now. But like spears
Yep.
used to be the primary hunting weapon before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can definitely see
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of slavery
Yes.
going on in the world's history.
Whips.
Oh yeah.
Got a lot of
Terrifying.
Yeah, whips are fucked up. You know what I'm saying?
Also,
They
I
fuck
love
people up.
Yeah.
that when they transform, they all do their magical
their
girl
triggers.
transformation.
Yeah.
She goes snap.
Snap.
Yeah.
Like a whip.
Like a whip.
I love
Yeah.
that. Yes.
And he just
and,
pulls the spear.
Something like that, yeah.
It's,
But I kinda
it's like an ignite. It's like igniting.
Yeah.
Like,
But he's
yeah.
also kind of doing
You
like
know.
the katum.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Or the fireball jutsu.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Katum.
Katone. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go Kakino Jutsu.
Chuan Chi's is just still the weirdest. How like she's got to
Pull
pull
the
that
arrow
fucking
out of her eye.
eye. Like
Yeah.
what the
Yeah,
fuck?
or pull-
is
yeah.
that?
Yeah.
That's her
That is
quiver,
pretty
man.
crazy,
Eye
but
socket's the quiver, man. Fuck it.
What happens to like? I mean, I guess he just regrows his spine, but he's pulling his spine out as the spear, and it's
Yeah,
like, all right. Now I'm a
Yeah, I
jellyfish. You know.
Yeah, but this is cool seeing all of them activate in this
Oh,
way.
so sick.
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Man,
Chainsaw
and
Man
then-
just blows them away.
Yeah, and then these double spreads,
speed
bro.
feet.
the shit.
So
The
many
speed
good
feet from
ones.
Chainsaw Man when they're all right on top of
Yes.
him, and then he fucking like blitz kicks fucking Chuan Chi and
Yeah,
Katana Devil
through
across.
these fucking buildings. Oh my god, what a beautiful page.
Or not Katana Devil, but the Night Sword Devil.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well,
Well,
he
so
blitzes with he
Yeah.
takes Quan Chi with him when he blitzes,
And the Night Sword
and
Devil.
the Night Sword.
No,
the-
Night
well,
Sword guy is still bad. Oh yeah, you're right. You're totally
yeah,
right.
because
Yep.
you can see
Yep.
his saber
They're
like in the
both
next double
attached to
spread.
each other
Yep.
with
No,
his
you're totally right.
chainsaw
Yep.
skewering both of them.
Katana
Yeah,
Devil is
and-
left behind. Yeah.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
want to know what?
Yes.
He's holding the broadsword devil's head, and you can see
Yep.
his
In the
spine
left hand,
in
yeah.
the left hand. You can see his spine coming out.
Yep.
Yeah,
He did the Sub-Zero fatality.
Yeah.
What that was.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the old Sub-Zero
He's got his head in his
fatality,
hand.
bro.
Oh
Rip the
no,
whole shit
he's
out.
got Quan
Buddy's
Chi's
tongue
head in
is
his
hanging out
hand.
and shit.
No, he's got Quan Chi's head in his hand, and that's her spine coming
Both.
down. But then he's also got like you could see one of the
Oh, he's
sabers.
got both.
Oh wait, yeah,
Yeah.
because he has two hands. He has two hands on the left side now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Both
okay.
his left hands
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
one Quan Chi's head and two.
He's holding them right
yeah,
above the chainsaw.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my! I did not notice that at all. I noticed that there were
So-
swords, but I was like, "What is
Yeah,
that?"
yeah. And I
Yeah,
love
and so-
the. Oh yeah, go ahead, Kiko.
Well, I was just gonna say, so the panel with the buildings being smashed, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
You guys are taking that as Chainsaw Man just went through all those buildings with Quan Chi, because it almost felt just the way that, you know, I was trying to think if it was possible. So the panel right before it, they get, you know, the Elder Quan,
Yeah.
smashed in all
Yeah,
direction, you
yeah.
know, fucking
the
force
sonic
push.
boom. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was thinking like maybe they all got smashed into a different building because it kind of looked like the buildings weren't lined up perfectly. But no, yeah, definitely.
Because you see the
And
damage,
that's
and then
why-
you see him carrying Quan Chi after
With the
damage
speed marks
through the-
implying
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like traveling super fast and
yeah, it's traveling super fast. Yeah.
Yep.
Then this other speed feat against Katana Devil. Like I love this like paneling where it's like Katana Devil rushes in. You get
Yeah.
like the key.
Yeah.
Like someone just got cut, and then
This 2-page spread here where it shows the Katana Devil like lurking behind Chainsaw Man in like a very Frank Miller Sin City like esque, you know,
Oh, yeah.
like contrast, you know
High
what I'm saying?
contrast, yeah.
High contrast, you know what I'm saying? Like blacked out figure in the background, and then it goes into like him like stancing up, which is his same fighting style stance that we've already like
Yeah.
seen, just like being used from a different perspective, which I like love when those things
Yeah.
are remembered and used again.
Yep.
And then he
Yep.
goes into his, you know, assault or whatever, and then boom, exploded.
Mm-hmm.
And then Makima, okay,
yeah.
this looks unwinnable.
that was the most hilarious thing.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
yeah, I died.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
Okay.
I'll tell you. MOBA players really felt that panel. There's so
Yeah,
many
I
times when
swear to God.
my team's inting. I'm just watching them all run and die, and I'm this is F6. This is
Yeah,
fucking-
it's
this is
unwinnable.
unwinnable.
Yeah,
this
cool.
is unwinnable. Get me out.
So
You
when
see all of them get evaporated exactly like this from a distance. From
Right.
base, yeah.
So Nox, when you mentioned Katana Devil having the same stance as before, it reminded me that earlier in the chapter, Makima says, Public Safety Devil Extermination Special Division 5.
Yeah.
Commence the operations. We've never heard of 5 before. I think this is the first time they were mentioned or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's super interesting to know that the entire time, probably, like, Katana Man was part of Section 5, and so was Reze. Do you think so? Or do you think
I think that after they get beat,
captured them
then
since?
they're recruited, right? So like,
Okay.
because Katana got whooped by Denji and then got his balls kicked in for like however long, and then obviously was handed over to the Devil Hunters Union,
Public Safety.
Safety. And then Reze obviously got caught lacking with the rats and Angemon, you know what I'm saying? So after she gets beat, she gets, inducted into the special division, you know what I'm saying, the public safety division and whatnot. But I think that they were doing their thing the entire time independently, or in whatever organization that they were, and then they got whooped, and then now they're on the team.
Sure.
Yeah. So like these other 4 unnamed weapon devils could have definitely been part of this special division 5 the whole time.
Sure.
And it kind of goes back to the other theory I was kind of talking about. Kind of trying to wrap my head around how to control. Because you'd think that we wouldn't have had to go through all this if Makima could have just showed up and controlled Reze and Katana Man and Quan Chi from the beginning, so her for a hybrid, being that they're 2 beings, right? Like, I just didn't think she could ever see herself more superior than them, especially if she looks up so highly.
Dominate them in combat. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But we don't, I guess, just Makima's control this entire time.
Yeah, that's right.
Sure.
That's right.
Like, she still could have beaten them before.
Of like Quan Chi, like why the Quan Chi situation inside of the Smoking Aces arc, or inside.
I mean, there's still a situation where Kishibe said like, "Let's kill Makima," and she's like, "No." Yeah,
because she's already on the team. But then
maybe
that's the reason why, because she was already on the team. Because remember, I was actually I said that back in that chapter. When he was talking to Quan Chi with the paper at the table, I was like, maybe like Quan Chi is saying all of these things to, she's talking to Kishibe this way because she's already aligned with Makima to some degree. I said that back then.
Yeah, but Makima then would have known that Kishibe was trying to kill her. Maybe she already did and just let him survive all that time. But I just felt like, why doesn't she just?
She's let him survive since,
right?
Yeah.
Certainly a ton of mystery here, obviously.
Sure.
Still.
Sure.
But I mean, I feel like we can connect a lot of dots though with this, because it's like okay, because if Quan Chi was under her control the whole time before the Smoking Aces arc, and then we have that scene with Kishibe and Quan Chi, which kind of like which helps to confirm that, and then afterwards, Quan Chi gives herself up and dies with all of her homegirls right there. Maybe maybe the homegirls acted out of a way that Kishi or that Quan Chi did not instruct them, which triggered Makima. And Makima were together, but then like Cosmo and the other ones did some like wild shit that Quan Chi obviously had to take their side on. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you guys, because obviously I care about you guys more than Makima. I'm just in this situation with Makima because I don't want to die, and like it's like a quid pro quo. Like, I get to live and do my thing, like just as long as I do whatever Makima says every once in a while. You know what I'm saying? So like maybe it was a situation where it was like that, but then Cosmo and the other girls wilded out. Now Quan Chi has to take their side, and because she took their side, Makima killed her in that scene the way that she did, even though she was already working for her beforehand. Who knows? It could be a situation.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah,
there's a lot there, but just how Makima looks at the end here. Obviously, she's not worried. She's very calm.
Are we ever going to get a worried Makima? Like,
no,
we will someday for sure.
Yeah, but I think there's more than just that she's calm and she has a plan, and this is probably pretty much going according to plan thus far. Anyway, I think it's also like adoration, right? Like she's admiring, like, my man Chainsaw is the best, right? Like she just loves him. She's fangirling right now too. Like, hell yeah, I knew this was gonna happen. This is great. This looks unwinnable, which I love. Which it's like, what? Why would you? I was
hoping it would be unwinnable because this means Chainsaw is still that guy.
Yes, definitely. So, that was
Not a whole
that's
lot
pretty
of meat
much all
potatoes.
All I had. It was a pretty quick chapter. All
amazing chapter.
Yeah. Amazing chapter though,
definitely.
for sure.
Well then, with that, I think we can go ahead and get right into chapter 33 of Marshall. Mosh burned dead, and the knee Strike.
Let's go.
What they should have
No.
called this chapter is "It Ain't That Deep." You know,
This chapter got me so gassed.
This
really
was a
what they-
phenomenal chapter. This might have been my favorite chapter so far.
I
but
think this
I just
is.
think it was
yeah,
fucking
I think
awesome.
this is the best Marshall chapter. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
So you get to see
like
how
it, bro.
Abel's magic works.
Yes.
That it's
Yeah, even more
it's
into
literally
it, like-
Dofi, you know, like
it's literally
straight
Dofi.
shit.
When he punched
Yep.
himself, bro, I'm like, damn,
Bro,
bro, he's a rat, bro.
Shit.
It's like
But
that
I'm
makes a
yo,
lot of
it's
sense.
kinda-
He did the
Cole
Fury
fucked
too.
himself. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just dumb that he stopped, you know, like, I don't
this
know. It
is
kinda goes,
classless. You know, like the
goes
way of
against-
beating you is
No, why would he care?
Right. But we do know
Talks
from
all
the
this
end of the
shit about
chapter.
how people that are less than him and people who they just need to be exterminated. Why would he stop?
Right. Yeah.
Like, it completely goes against his character. It's just plot armor. That's the one thing that irritated me.
Well,
I'm like, why would he stop choking?
It's
That
I would say
doesn't
it's
make any
not plot
fucking
armor
sense.
in the sense that we know definitively from the end of the chapter that MASH can break out of this.
Yeah.
So
Right.
like
True.
it isn't like this saved MASH. Like he should have at least kept trying, but they wanted to put in, you know, the Finn scene or whatever. So we have Finn
Yeah.
as the marionette or whatever. I think it's just crazy, so
Which
mashal,
is
right?
another
Like
thing.
Yeah.
Like,
hit him with the axe.
Yeah.
Fucking
did they
axe
get
breaks
caught
before
up?
MASH.
Yeah.
What?
how did they get caught up?
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Finn and,
Oh.
and Dote.
They don't
said
show it. It's off screen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they just-
they don't show it, but he definitely
well, that
says
was
like,
just, that was a little off-putting. That was like, I'm
Yeah.
like, wait,
I mean, we might go
I don't know,
back.
there's
we might
other
go
scenes
back.
happening.
Yeah. I mean, it happens like that in manga. So it'd be like that sometimes, you know.
There's definitely been many times in manga where a new development will happen. We'll be like, holy shit, how did that happen? And then we'll get a flashback
Yeah.
to how it happened.
Yeah, definitely.
well, I hope we do.
But-
is all I'm saying. Because
So-
it was a little off-putting. I'm like, how'd they get caught up? Because like,
Yeah.
Buddy definitely came in and washed fucking Gandalf,
Yeah.
and they were cooling.
Yeah.
So what
They
the fuck
bounced
happened?
though. They because
they
because Doubt
They went somewhere
and-
else.
Doubt wins.
They
and
all
then-
split up,
Yeah, and then they all bounced. Yeah.
and then Ames comes in. You know,
Mhm.
Rain.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's a
He
time
washes
period
the-
where
he
we didn't know what
washes,
was happening.
You know,
Yeah.
Warlock
Mhm.
guy,
Yeah.
Gandalf,
Yep. And then he
and then they all
fights
kind of
Mash
went
for a
their
little
separate
bit.
ways and shit.
Yeah. Then he fights Mash for a little bit. There's a bunch of time that passed where we didn't
And now
know
all of a
what
sudden
the
they're just
characters
caught
were
up.
doing.
Yeah.
It's not all of a sudden.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of time that passed where they weren't on screen. So
Yeah.
Just one chapter.
yeah,
I
but I
mean,
mean, like, I'm talking about like
one
inside
chapter
of
can be.
yeah, I'm talking about
Yeah.
inside of the story because, like, think about it. Doubt wins, then him and Finn bounce, and then Rain comes in, beats that dude
It's
easily,
probably been about 10 minutes, maybe,
and then like and then Mash comes in, tussles with
in story.
Yeah, and then Mash comes in, tussles with Rain, and then after that, Mash comes all the way. We don't know how long it takes him to get to where he is now with Abel.
Mhm.
There's just a lot of time not accounted for in story.
Plenty of
probably.
time for Abel to pick on presumably the weakest member of the group, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yes.
and an injured Dote or
Yeah.
Dot or whatever,
Definitely.
Yeah,
and get a new puppet or whatever.
yeah. Mhm.
So
Um,
I want to go back to the
yeah,
first
yeah.
page.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Oh yeah, that's like
Abel, has all his dolls with the,
Yeah.
you know. So are those people that he's sapping energy from, or is that dolls he has? My question is he channeling a magic spell that is currently taking away maybe some of his ability to, you know, keep this energy factory going, or
Sure.
is it just like free flowing energy he gets that's going to increase his ability? You know, like, I mean, we don't really know. At least I don't remember any, like, you know, anything that would indicate one way or the other. But it's just something to think about, because if these are all real people that he's sapping their energy from, you know, like, is it going directly to him? Is it his spell? Is it his spell with, you know, just the fact that he's, you know, marionette string guy, that he can, that works with his ability, with his spells? I mean, it would make sense if it does. But yeah, I mean, there's just a good question there. Is like, this could either be powering him up or it could be weakening him. Like,
Sure.
not
Yeah,
like
that's a good
weakening
question.
him, just taking some of his, whatever, take 20% of his concentration away, to channel all this shit behind him. So yeah, I mean that could be something that plays out because obviously with the end of this chapter, it looks like Abel's just done, right? And he's not gonna have any fucking chance against Mash. But maybe he's like, okay, I'm gonna drop all this shit I'm doing in the back and go hard now. You know.
Well, we know we know that they have a way to take the mana of others and put it into like a supplement or like a vial or whatever that you can take. And so maybe that I would assume that that's what's happening here with these bodies being sucked of energy. We could probably assume. Just because I can't right now think of a way that this magic that he's using right now equates to the doll magic that we've seen him using. So I would have to assume that there's some kind of apparatus off screen or some kind of, machine of some kind where that is doing this part for them, or maybe someone else's magic, you know, unrelated or from this, scene or situation is the one who's actually sapping it so that they can concentrate it into that potion or whatever. But, but yeah, definitely a very good question, because if this is Abel, then is this powering him up, or is he preoccupied with this while trying to fight?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great question. Super great question.
Yeah.
Well, it almost looks like it's like, I don't know.
Acting independently, maybe it could be a tree because it kind of looked like
it's like if
all of those things are going.
It's like this big broken section in the wall.
Yeah,
and then it looks like this white shit is coming out of this crack in the wall behind the broken section. Like it looks like there's this crack in the wall that a wall was built over.
Yeah,
and now it's broken away. And maybe there's some fucking, I don't know.
I don't know if it's going above the panel. Yeah, I don't know if it's going in the cracks. I feel like
kind of it's all
leading up to the source, which is off panel on purpose.
Right.
Maybe he's playing with some kind of entity that's like giving him more strength, or like turning him more sadistic and evil in a way, or I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just the way that this wall is broken away and there's this crack in it. Like what?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's weird.
You're very
good spot. Yeah, I mean,
but also
definitely. I mean, could be Triamite, or Kelopot tree or whatever, pulling, and it's being stored into some whatever tree that he's going to take it from or whatever.
The
plant,
the fucking what is their the lupus? What the fuck is their house name?
Magia Lupus.
Oh, the Lang.
The Lang, they're supposed to be like the shitty, fucking Slytherin kind of.
Yeah.
So
progress at it by any means.
It would be on par for them to have some like sketchy, evil, ancient, like forbidden shit, like hidden in their fucking base, where behind some wall where you fucking get a contract with the devil or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But going back to what you were saying a little bit earlier, Eagle, about how it was weird that Abel like let go of the grip. And then had a dialogue that said, like, that's not really fair. You know what I'm saying? It lacks a certain class. But then pulls out Finn.
Right.
And goes, if, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't lift a finger against this puppet. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not allowed to defend yourself against this puppet. If you break the rules, I'll break your friend. It's like, that's just as classless as making him choke himself.
That's what even Mash says, like, oh, so that's the way you play. Right? In his like...
Yeah.
Funny,
I just remembered something. We got to go back again, because that big crack in the wall is when Mash smashed all the big dolls and they flew into the wall and broke the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, do you think so?
I think so. That. That was just last chapter. They all flew past Abel and went right behind him and smashed the wall.
That's
right behind him.
You're probably right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Good
big
spot.
Dump.
Very good spot. But yeah, man. Oh my God, dude. I love... and it's weird because it's like, okay, Finn has like a fucking like mace in one hand, and then like a fucking giant broad axe in the other, and he's just like cracking Mash with like,
and it doesn't break Mash's skin.
It doesn't break Mash. Like,
he's got shark skin on right now. It's like,
it's like, I understand you're strong. I understand you're strong, but like Abyss Razor literally just cuts you like with a bunch of like dull paper cut like length. Attacks from like a sword, what I mean? Yeah, Abyss Razor is probably stronger than this doll, but like still, like, it's just like, that's a weird. Like, why not just give him two blunt objects? Like, why not just give him two baseball bats or some shit? If you're gonna make him hit him, don't make him hit him with two giant bladed weapons and then not have any damage there.
Especially since the bladed part of the axe cracks right in the middle and breaks on both sides.
Yeah,
it's like he was definitely getting hit with the fucking sharp end of the axe, both the ends of the, because it's either pointy on one side and or it's a fucking bladed axe on the. It's like either way, he was getting hit with a piercing weapon and it didn't pierce his skin.
Yeah, it's weird.
So. That's
That's the second time that I've like during this series kind of been like, all right, I feel like they're not taking enough damage for the amount of like damage that's being dealt. I mean, I understand that you guys are strong or whatever, but like don't take damage from one source one way 3 chapters ago and then not take any damage from a similar source with that. Seems to have hit pretty hard, bro. Like, I don't know.
Because there could easily be an explanation on, okay, Axe hit me dead in the face, right? Because this is exactly what's happening. Axe hit me dead in the face. It can cut my skin, but I'm so strong that it can't break the muscle tissue. It just breaks the skin and you get blood.
Yeah.
But it's not a serious, you know,
wound,
like that would make sense if
but
we
there's
got
no
that,
blood at all.
Yeah.
The face hit
I mean,
was
we're
the mace.
talking about
The
Finn
face
here.
hit was the mace.
Like he's
He
like
hit
a
him with
high
both.
tier puppet.
He hit him with both.
Not in the face.
He hit him with both in the face. So if you look at page 8 and 9,
fair.
left and right, boom, boom.
Even just nine,
left
just,
and
even just,
one,
yeah,
two,
yep, okay, correct,
Yeah,
Okay,
but either way,
fair.
that's the only.
Where you saying, Eagle?
Like, this is Finn here we're talking about. Let's not act like he's like a fucking high tier puppet. Like,
But
maybe you're right.
who knows?
Maybe you're right.
Sure, but yeah,
He's still got this. First of all, he's swinging these big ass weapons around that are clearly not
like if
like
this were
right.
One
They're
Piece,
100-pound weapons, right?
Like y'all wouldn't be bugging at all.
well, it depends on
I'm
the.
not bugging at all.
It depends on the
This is
person.
Mashal, baby.
It depends on the person controlling them because, like, obviously, like Finn himself is nothing to write home about. But like turned into a doll and being controlled by someone who has your limbs on strings, that person.
Well,
can
right,
be
but we already know
capable.
there's like a hierarchy to like the power level of his puppets. You know, he's got stronger ones versus weaker ones. So
but that doesn't
assume-
mean that this puppet
Sure,
version
Finn.
of Finn controlled by Abel isn't stronger than regular Finn. And if you know,
I would assume he is, but that's still not enough.
me too. Yeah,
At all.
Yeah, it's probably. I agree. It's still not enough, but it's like, okay, you're swinging around big weapons, and like Finn's short guy, right? But now his doll is much bigger than he normally is. He's like bigger than Mash now.
Yeah.
and so. And he's swinging around these weapons that are at least half the length of fucking the doll body, right? Like they're big ass weapons. Those
just weird.
Those weapons are seriously heavy ass weapons that are being swung around. You know,
I mean, if we're gonna take this seriously, Mash has literally dug into stone with his bare hands. Mash has like this is Mashal. Like his skin is harder than Axe's. Deal with it.
Yeah, you're right.
He wasn't when he fought the sword guy.
Yeah, you're right. That's fine.
Because it was really fast. It was really fast.
Yeah,
right?
you're right.
Paper
It's
cut
fine.
fast.
That's fine. Yeah, it's
Well,
just
like
weird.
Knox was saying earlier, I
he got
would assume
impaled. It was more
Abyss
than
Razor-
paper cuts, but
Yeah. That's
Well,
right.
I mean, well, like Knox was saying earlier, and for that instance, I would assume Abyss Razor is stronger even than this
significantly.
puppet,
stronger,
obviously.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
Yeah,
for
so
sure.
maybe not a real complaint to make, but that was just something that like kind of like had me like kind of like cock my head to the side.
Yeah.
For sure.
But moving,
I see where you come from.
Moving into the rest of the chapter.
One more thing is just like Mashal is so good, and even though it's a gag manga, we've been in our like a serious arc here for so long that even though there's jokes and there's
you
things here
forget
and
how
there,
gaggy it can get.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
and when you're looking at this, it's like, okay, a lot of things have made a lot of manga sense thus far in a real shonen manga. So it's like when you, it's like it's hard to apply rules sometimes and not other times, right? Like it just is,
Right.
you know.
And it's harder from an analytical standpoint too, because we're trying to make sense of everything. But if this is something that makes sense to only the mangaka, and it's like, how do we ascertain, like what the mangaka's like intentions were with this scene? It's like, if anybody's going to think about it, it's going to be the mangaka going like, okay, there's going to be a little bit of like inconsistency in the damage that's taken here, and that's probably going to have people like feel weird. But I mean, like this makes sense to me. Like this is the way that for the people that don't understand my storytelling like methods entirely yet, like this is probably going to be off-putting to them. But like this is the way that this story is supposed to go, and the mangaka knows that before we do. So it just makes it awkward for us to do our job, like trying to make sense of everything, because that's clearly a very big consistency there, which can be explained away by it's a gag manga, it's Mashal. You know what I'm saying?
But I also think it can be explained away by what Eagle was talking about, right? Like this is Finn's doll. Like there's obviously tiers of dolls, and Abel doesn't know what Mash is, right? So like he's thinking this dude's just a very strong kid, but not like a god, right? You know what I mean? But
so this level of damage should work.
Yeah, it should work or whatever.
And then he finds out,
especially for someone not defending at all, and he's strong or whatever.
Yeah, but then going into this coin scene. Oh my god!
Coin scene!
Okay, so this coin scene is sick
On
because
his
he flicks
Goto.
it. He flicks it, right? Yeah, he flicks it, and then his hair goes back. Remember we were talking about how like his hair's gonna go back one day, and we're gonna get some kind of crazy symbol underneath the fucking bangs. Like,
Yeah,
it doesn't look really like we're gonna get that,
No.
but
No,
Not on
I mean,
the
this
left
is
side of the face
this is a side profile. You never know.
Yep.
It's a
It is.
side
It
profile,
is.
but
you're right.
yeah, maybe it's on the right side. Maybe he's on his Harry Potter.
Oh
But-
my!
He literally boomeranged it, right? It doesn't bounce
Yeah.
off anything. It just
it-
like
Yeah.
in the air curves
Yeah,
around.
He hit the
rotation,
wanted-
boomerang.
Yeah.
Wanted,
He even
the,
said
wanted
like,
the
"Yo,
movie
this coin
wanted.
must like me."
Yeah,
Yeah. This coin must like me. Yeah,
this coin. Yeah, and I mean, obviously, like I said, he's on his Goto. Like I thought of Goto immediately,
Yeah, me
you know,
too.
from Hunter. Yeah. So that's the. But so doesn't this coin seem a lot bigger to you than it was when it got taken from Mash in his first exchange with Abel, and he fucking, you know.
yeah. It doesn't
bit
look
the-
like
bit
that's
the-
something you could
yeah.
replace with a decoy button.
A button. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Those puppets are pretty big. The buttons.
Yeah, big.
You're
big
right.
puppets, yep.
Yeah,
You're right. You're right. And I was thinking of that too, but it's like this damn coin is like a fucking like what's the biggest coin? Bigger than a 50-cent piece. Like it's bigger than
Yeah.
any American coin that I can think of. You know, like I don't.
It's one of them Willy
Yeah,
Wonka
biggest-
coins. Go get some
Yeah,
chocolate
with
around
chocolate
the
in
corner.
it.
right?
Yeah.
Oh man,
But the
yeah.
coolest fucking part of the
Yes.
whole chapter
Yes.
is
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Got me so gassed.
I've never even thought about this, right? Like, what
Yeah.
if Dofi has you, right? And you
Yep.
force out of it, right? What happens to
Yeah.
Dofi, right? Snap, snap.
Yeah.
Yo,
Oh, so
I-
sick.
Yes.
now when I turned the page and I saw that first panel of his finger snapping back, bro, I
Yeah.
got so gassed.
Dude, when he
up.
takes the step, he
I'm
said,
like,
when he takes the
"Ah."
step, he said, "Ah!" Took
Yeah.
that first
Isn't
step,
it-
broke the
Isn't
finger
it so
back.
crazy that like that makes every bit of sense in the whole world, but we didn't think of it? It's like
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
duh, that's what would happen. But I'm like, how is it duh if I never thought of it before? But
Yeah,
it's like it's clearly like perfect for this,
Yeah.
and I wish that would have happened in One Piece a
Yeah.
lot.
Right,
with Dolphin
right.
Zingo
Me
at
too.
some point. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
And then
It
it's just this. He starts running, and it's just snap, snap, snap,
Snap,
snap,
snap,
snap,
He's
snap.
like, oh,
This fucking-
shit!
yeah.
Boom!
And his
With
double
the
page spread.
the
at
knee to the
end,
face.
bro.
The
the
mangaka
10 ruby
knows
toes.
how to show strength flexes,
Yeah.
like that. Like thinking about like what the mangaka is like, you know, in the studio. You know, I try to put myself in the studio or whatever, and it's like okay, if I'm gonna make this story about this fucking buff ass teenager that's like so buff that magic doesn't work on him, like what are gonna be all of like the really great moments that I can show this aspect of this series? And you just start thinking like,
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna have a marionette kind of like puppet guy who's gonna try to control Mash, and Mash is just gonna walk through it and break their fingers, you know, the fucking like fork underneath the door or whatever hits the door and then like props it up on the fork, then like, or the sword, and like steps on it
Yeah.
and like flings it up. It's like all those little things. Like that's why I come back to Mashal, is because I want to see
Yeah.
those flexes like that, because the
Yeah.
mangaka is so good at those. I feel like the execution is always top tier.
Yeah, and there's a couple things I want to say. So, all the snaps, if you count the snaps, you
Yeah.
know, the very first one you see with the middle finger going backwards is one.
Yeah.
Then you see two with the index finger, and then
Yep.
snap, 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 snap. So what, five?
Yeah.
So yeah, 8 total. Is he gonna have everything but his thumbs at the end? Like all
Yeah.
8 fingers broken? You know, like because that's the thing. It's like what's going to be the next chapter, right? He's getting his shit kneed crushed in the face, but I don't expect this fight to be over.
No,
You
hell
know,
no,
like
because this is a puppet
there's-
too.
I think maybe it's just both
Oh.
joints, because if you look at the bottom right panel
Hey.
of page
Yo,
17,
Kankuro.
Yeah. What's up?
his index finger looks like it's broken on both joints. I was gonna say it could just be just this hand, all 8 joints.
Oh,
his
yeah,
fingers.
yeah.
Because I think like
okay,
you can't just count like because like the sound is like paki, like you can't just like count the sound as a combo. You have to count
Yeah.
the key, right? So like
Yeah.
the first one is one, and then the bottom right one. But the look at the bottom left panel, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Paki. Yeah.
Right? So like
Yeah.
he's getting his hand obliterated here
Yeah.
for sure.
yeah.
But I agree with you, Eagle. I think it might be just one hand, maybe.
Yeah, this
Oh, yeah.
motherfucker probably a little puppet action, because I mean, like one,
Yeah.
like look at. Well, let's see. Oh no, I can't make that comparison because the eyes on this doll are blacked out. But I swear that the other dolls that we've seen have the same eyes as Abel.
Oh, the Hatsume eyes, the
Yeah.
crosshair eyes.
Yep.
I don't remember that, but
I feel like I
swear to
remember that.
God,
Don't hold me to that, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
if his face fucking breaks and crackles, and then you got Crow under there, you know, fucking Karasu the Conqueror, like I was like, why didn't I've seen that already? Like, I didn't think of that at all, but I've seen this exact thing in the most popular fucking anime in America.
I will say for definitely that this dude's face is very emotionless, right? Abel's face, like it's very nondescript. He doesn't really have much emotion on there, so I would not be surprised if he is a puppet and the real body is.
Well, it's just like I think about myself as this character of Abel. You know what I'm saying? If my ability,
what would you do?
If my ability was puppetry, puppet master, and like, you know what I'm saying, I would literally just make a puppet that cuts my stress in combat down like 90% because I'm not actually there. And then if someone comes that can beat this fucking puppet, that I'm like, all of my like mana is being like, you know, channeled vicariously through this puppet. You know what I'm saying? So like, this is a big deal puppet. If this gets beat, then I know like I have a very good gauge of the strength, or a better gauge of the strength of my opponent than if I would have just been there originally. You know what I'm saying? Like now I have a little bit more data, and now I know how hard I need to go in the actual confrontation now that my puppet's been defeated, or I know that I needed to bounce. So I feel like as a puppet master character, I feel like that would be the route that I would take. But
and I was going. Well, I'll still ask the question. But it makes a lot of sense if this is a puppet. So Mash breaks your first finger. Why don't you fucking dispel the spell immediately and pull your fucking strings off him? So you don't. So he doesn't do this to the rest of your fucking hand. If you were a skilled magician, you probably would think that that's a possibility to happen to your ability, especially when you know how your ability works. And you would just, and especially thinking of Kankuro could fucking, you know, disconnect and reconnect his chakra strings immediately in a second. And like that, and that would make, you know, sense if that's what, you know, what you would do in that situation. Or it's not a puppet, and that's just like some serious condition to the ability. Like once you're fucking, and I don't know, like does this magic system like give you those like like it's like I don't think so.
Have layered caveats and advantages.
To me, I guarantee you that this is what would happen to his ability, his magic ability, right? But he's never considered this possibility ever. There's no magic user that can ever do this. This would never happen.
Or it's just happening so fast that he just like wants to see what the fuck
it's
happens.
Shock for one.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He's like, holy shit, okay, hold on, he's breaking my fingers. Is he gonna break all of them? Let's see.
And
you know what I mean?
He's also he's not passively standing there and Mash is moving. He's actively trying to keep Mash in place, right?
Yes, and you can see his fingers struggling on the step page.
Yes, he's exerting his force, and so if I think it would take a little bit to be like, oh shit, like that just happened. This isn't gonna work. Oh damn, and like
that's the panel though.
Couple steps.
I
don't know.
The panel you're talking about on 16, the upper left panel, where he's already seeing his finger fucking he's already going back. It's like right then and there. It's like he should have known to deactivate his fucking ability.
Yeah, if it's Hunter,
this dude's an arrogant, racist, free stripe. He's never had to break a sweat in his entire life. He never has anyone even come close to doing this.
He's
to his
so
ability
surprised by this. He's like, let's see how this goes.
He's already accounted for like Rain. This guy is. We gotta give him. I feel like we gotta give him a little bit more credit for that. So is that if he's a puppet, he doesn't give a fuck if his fingers break. You know, like that's right. And we're gonna figure out like what's the you know, capabilities of this guy. So
we're gonna get final form Abel out the fucking side. It's gonna be like the Wizard of Oz scene where they take the fucking they take the fucking drapes down, and it's a little ass dude in a like with a fucking.
He's about to come out the wall.
But yeah, man, I don't know. This fucking chapter, man, like Marshall is like my
amazing.
Is like my hype fuel. You know what I'm saying? Like I go to Marshall when it's like, all right, time to get hyped up with some fucking crazy flexes.
I just love it.
Yeah, dude, me too.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Me too.
Alrighty. Well, then with that, I think we can go ahead and jump right into chapter 266 of Black Clover. Dark Garden Invitation, and this this color spread, man, this color cover is fire.
Cool.
I like it.
Pretty cool.
With Noct,
very pretty.
Colored Noct
with the nebula-looking sky. That sky is
always
basically my wallpaper on my PC. Like that's basically my wall. Just the sky portion.
That's the stock wallpaper that comes with all PCs.
Oh no, I found mine. I was a big 1440, nice, beautiful, high def one, way out in Andromeda. No, I don't know. But,
that sounded good.
It sounded good, yeah.
The thing that like I was surprised by, and like I'm sure we probably knew this before, but like to see the bird devil like colored like a rooster or whatever, I was like, okay, that's what that is. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
The cat's still my favorite, man.
Yeah, that cat goes dummy, bro. Look at that.
The cat is the most ominous, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just something about cats, but smiling ass Cheshire cat type shit, bro. Like,
it's also like, that
this one's
like, I'm gonna rip you apart.
Yeah, it's the fact that it's the super cute like Cheshire cat, like Japanese kitty face, like on top of like the body with the most going on out of all the other devils.
Yeah.
It's like
But this dog kind of going crazy too. You know what I'm saying? On the left.
Yeah.
well,
well, that I don't think that one's a goat. That's a donkey, I think.
Oh yeah.
They all have horns. They all have horns, and the horns don't count.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's like a horse or a donkey made of like a mane or something, right?
Nice catch there.
Yeah. That sounds
this chapter. Okay, so this chapter is cool as shit. One, we get Gaja here. And it's cool that it's cool that we're getting Gaja right now, because out of everything that's happened, I've been kind of thinking in the back of my head, it's like, okay, page on page 4, the way that he looks right now with no words, that face drawn by Tabata says everything it needs to about the way that this person is feeling. So I just love that the attention to Gaja's character has been paid very close attention to, and how he would react in this situation. So,
and it makes sense to kind of pair him with Charlotte.
Her close up is like nothing. Like it's just a shadow from her helmet. Like I agree. She's like very shoehorned in. It doesn't feel like you could say like she didn't get her time before. She didn't get it now.
Yeah,
you know?
You're right.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's still the fact that she's still in horse, maybe at that point.
Yeah, it is weird
I
to
really don't
see
get it, honestly.
Charlotte here
Maybe
sharing
we
the
get
page
her
with Gaja. Yeah.
Maybe we get a panel of her like once they all head out, she like blitzes ahead of them, and she's got some kind of similar look on her face where she's like trying to get into that action, and she's no longer around the people like Kiko was saying, so she can not, she can drop the front basically.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
But I feel like this is just going back to Tabata and his decision to make Charlotte's character hang on Yami the way that it does, because it's like, okay, everyone is showing their determination to go save the people that mean something to them that have been taken by the Dark Triad. And it's like, okay, well, Asta is with, you know what I'm saying, Noct right now, so he's not going to be in this scene to react this way. We have Gaja this entire chapter, but then it's like, we have to have Charlotte here. Like who's going to be mad about Yami? Asta's gone. The Black Bulls are getting cussed out by Noct.
What about William?
Let's put Charlotte here as someone who...
Just on the fact that she's not trying to let people know that this is the deal, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It is.
That's the only thing you can say.
The one thing we got in the meeting.
Yeah.
The one thing we got in the meeting was her one inner line, like, "Oh fuck," whatever. I forgot exactly what she said. And then we get another inner line where she's saying, another thing.
Yeah, but it's just weird to have her share the page with Gaja, who has been kind of absent from this kind of like scene where everyone is reacting, to the things that happen, and then we finally get Gaja and his reaction to Lolo Pachika being taken. And it's shared with Charlotte, who feels like, okay, we're going to have someone be upset about Yami. Oh, yeah, Charlotte's in love with Yami, so let's just put Charlotte right here. That's right. We made her a fucking, like Yami fangirl, so, like, let's put her in here. And let's show her upset again.
I would almost rather have, like,
had his
put
time.
the rest of this page, instead of this Charlotte panel, you do, like, maybe he just calls down a big-ass fucking lightning bolt and just, like... just pissed as fuck, just hits the ground, nothing.
It should have been a three-way split.
And then later, like, activate on another level.
Yeah.
And, like, go crazy, stupid ham.
It's because when we see Yami next time, he's going to look like Gon in the hospital bed, shriveled up.
But yeah, I think that is something that might still happen. Where she, when they actually get eyes on the man, she'll, like, activate, tunnel vision. She'll, like, activate, start going crazy ham.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I'm trying to say here, though, as well, is had a whole chapter of him. Yes. I mean, at least a half a chapter of this. So it's like you definitely, and the other thing, too, is Yami and Lolo Pachika are loved characters, where, like, Vengeance is very questionable. A lot of people don't fuck with Vengeance. So, it made sense to me to put these two together and leave Vengeance out. Whole slew of characters that can be mad about Yami right now. Vanessa could have been in this position, even though she's not there and she doesn't know that, and I mean, Asta,
Oh, you think all the Black Bulls are coming?
They're not
Definitely,
gonna sideline
because-
the main characters in the final.
Yeah,
conversation.
Knox didn't shit talk their whole crew, the whole thing for them not to go.
No, because
they're all
there's two major points. There's two major points. One, so Gaja's point where he's like talking with Julius or whatever, and he's like, oh yeah, the people of your country that are here, they're also preparing for a second battle. Well, whether they make it in time is up to them, as this is a shonen manga. And then later, Noct lays in these people for like several pages, and he's like,
you all suck. No one does anything right.
If you want to save his worthless hide, then use the next 2 days to get stronger. You do not say that sentence and have all these characters not come. Every single Black Bull will be there.
Well, I don't think they. I don't know.
It's either tropey trash to get them there, or tropey trash bad writing that you'd even bring up this line and not have them come. You lose either way, but they're coming. They're gonna be there.
Yeah,
they're definitely coming.
With
You just don't shit talk people for a half a chapter for them to not do anything.
This chapter is half chapter of shit talk against the Black Bulls. I'm like, whoa.
They're going. They're going. You're not getting cussed out and not going. Like, I'm sorry.
and I like this chapter, but there was a lot of things that. I really like. There was a lot of things about that though. Like, how is 2 days going to get you stronger than 6 months of training? Like, what? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Not the one.
And Knox like, oh yeah, your prior or what you've done to like better your group is irrelevant because you did all this shitty stuff in the past and you guys really haven't like done enough to make up for it. But it's like, no, there's actually a fucking system in this country. They had negative stars, like 100 negative stars, and then they were positive 300 stars. So they definitely, and we can quantify it because there's a system for it. They have made up for it actually, and it's stated in the canon. So like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like,
this is all for Knox character.
And,
yeah.
Well, no, I mean.
Well, no, the other part too, the part that really makes me
look, motherfucker.
Sorry, I'm like, it's like, what do people have all sorts of things that they can't change about them. It's like, that's what we're doing.
That
here?
was a
like,
very awkward line for me. I was like,
I
was like, what the fuck are you talking?
Sorry, my hair. Sorry, I'm bald. Hey,
well, I mean, like his entire character is just shit talking people who aren't like him. Like that's his entire character. Is like, I do things the right way. I'm very by the book. I'm very, XYZ, and you guys are, G, F, L, other letters of the fucking like alphabet that don't that don't line up with the way that I live my life. So you guys all suck because you don't have the same outlook as me. You know what I'm saying? So it makes sense that he would say something like, if you don't want to fucking get made fun of, then just don't look like that. I mean, like this dude has been the ops since his introduction.
Sorry, I got freckles.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like all like all types of shit like that. Like it's all just playing into his character of just being a shitty person.
Well, and it makes sense though, because we obviously you get to peer into his past at least a little bit because this fucking tattered, busted up, abandoned mansion is his family's mansion, which you can see by the picture on the ground.
Yep. The picture on page 10, you have a picture of a family of 4, and the bottom right character is definitely Noct, probably.
And there's a shadow covering his sibling.
Yeah. Yep. What? Who the heck is that? And initially I was like, "Whoa, is this Yami? Is that why he hates Yami?" It's like, no, but Yami's from Japan or whatever. So like, can't be fucking Yami. But like,
they look similar. I don't know. Look similar.
Wait a minute.
Why does he know so much about
Yami,
devils?
But it's someone, right? You don't black out. You don't block out this.
If it's not some dark garden invitation.
Super sick. This is where it's like, yes, this is so
I
sick.
was like, oh fuck dude, this is super sick the way that it's illustrated. Dark garden invitation.
And this like underground like cavern tomb dimension, super tight.
Super
it gives,
this is some of the best art I've ever seen from Tabata is this room. This is so not fitting to the rest of the series. Like, this
feels
is
like two things combined to me. It feels like Serednik with the fucking shit behind him in his fucking palace of death because all the skulls, But it also feels very Uchiha Shrine-like because I've gone down into this. Malevolent Shrine,
Malevolent Shrine,
But going back a couple pages, I think it's really important that we see Noct, and he says, although I don't see them here, there's an evil-looking, openly delinquent peasant and an evil-looking, belligerent masked peasant. And it's like, that, obviously we've talked a little bit about it before, because Magna being sidelined is really upsetting.
Yeah.
And for Leopold to take his spot. But it makes like a lot more sense when I think about it, in the sense that obviously he couldn't make glyph magic, which would be exactly the same for Zora, since they're both non-royal, they're non-nobles, and that they're way, which obviously they're going to come, you know,
and do some crazy tight shit like later. And
some shit that it's going to be basically, you would assume they're going to invent a new application for mana usage, since they don't have the mana usage
that everyone else is learning right
capacity.
Now in this arc.
Yes.
They're going to come up with their own mana usage that's different from everyone else.
Damn.
That would be crazy, but like Tabata has to be really careful with that. And he has the energy system that's soft enough to allow it. But but I mean, like, if you are going to have an energy system that's universally used by everyone, there are like hard, consistent, foundational ways to use it that everyone can. And that everyone should be able to learn to do. If you are completely taking this energy system that anyone can learn, and there are foundational rules for usage of, and then you're going to go and take that system and create an entirely new thing with just you and 2 people in like 6 months, you know, and then come back and say like, yo, we have this new way to use magic. Like, that's cool. But like, if you 2 figured it out in like 6 months, someone else in the history of this energy system should have found out how to do that too. You know what I mean? At some point in time over the history of the shared energy system that everyone is born with, all of the applications that mean anything should have been figured out by someone already, instead of clutch in this moment.
Peasants don't get to be magic knights as a rule. That's only a very new thing. Zora's dad, I think, is the first peasant. They have such a small mana pool that their magic is basically strictly for farm work and shit. You know, like they're using it, you know, for, you know, whatever working application of daily life shit. So like, it would make sense that we've only had X amount of peasants to ever become magic knights. Nobody ever had to be pushed in this direction because these people weren't even allowed to participate. You know, and we're basically forced into a working class, you know, way of using their magic. So, you know, I mean, it makes enough sense, I think. But
I totally agree. I totally agree in the sense that, like, say, even like martial arts, right? Like back in the day, there was like kings and emperors and shit, and they had armies with weapons. Like, why they don't need to learn martial arts, and then the peasantry learn martial arts to try and fight against people with weapons, right? Yeah. This is that same situation where like the nobles, they don't do a strategy that's like, I'm going to conserve my mana, I'm going to use a small amount of mana in a big way. Like, what do they care? They have a big mana pool. Just use big spells. So like, I think it makes sense also. I think it makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot more sense than I originally thought. So I like that.
Definitely.
He could be smelling.
He has a good nose.
Like, what he could be smelling, which I don't know how it makes sense, is that he can just smell the vestige of All for One. Or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce that word, but that feels weird. Or maybe Gigantomachia is wrong.
No, it's because
like,
he's not smelling anything. He had to beat him into submission. He had to beat him into submission, or like make him believe in him. So like it's just somebody he's acknowledged as his master.
Yeah.
And now he's like memorized their scent. You know.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm saying
I feel like
All for One.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like it can't be wrong.
Metaphorical.
Like it can't be metaphorical. It can't be wrong. He literally smells 2 people.
Smelling 2 beings,
And it, like, you can't have page 7 show a split and page 8 he says I smell 2 people.
Right.
Like, you can't have that be not literally physically coming out of his body. Like, it doesn't make any sense. He can't smell the intent of All for One.
When I said that Gigantomachia is wrong, I didn't mean like flat out wrong. He's not smelling anything. I'm saying like wrong. Like maybe it's not a sense of smell that he's sensing All for One with.
Okay,
I'm saying he's wrong in the sense that
he
senses both of them because he's linked to both of them.
Yes.
And
so it's more like he's saying,
Gigantomachia is just saying I smell. But at the same time, we has a scene where Gigantomachia that supports what you're saying. But like,
Like,
yeah, that's fine.
Like,
that could, yeah.
But smell can trigger memory.
Yeah.
Can memory trigger smell? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
can he sense the presence?
Yeah.
The quirk, key, energy presence. He senses All For One, and he goes like, "Oh, that's weird."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, yeah," like, and he's tricking himself into thinking he smells
that he's smelling it. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Scent is the most powerful. I want to say it's the most powerful
nostalgia
sense,
trigger.
Nostalgia triggering linked with memory. So yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, it definitely, there could be some kind of reverse. Memory triggering scent thing.
I like this situation better than All For One is physically ripping himself out of Shigaraki, because that raises so many more questions in this series than the other way around, where it's just Gigantomachia thinking that he smells a physical All For One when he actually just senses both presences and is equating it to smell. You know?
But I mean,
I hope we get clarification.
I know,
later.
I know this is. I know we use the term Zangetsu world a lot, but I mean, All For One world, whatever. Yeah, One For All world, whatever.
The vestige space.
Vestige space. That sounds good. All For One is physically pulling out of Shigaraki there, and sure, that once you're in that space, what does that really mean, right? Like, that doesn't actually, you can't really firmly place, oh well, there it is, that clears it up. It's like, no, that doesn't. But it does kind of further the point that there is actually two beings that are in this vessel, and that All For One could literally, it's so hard to say.
So All For One is not in his cell then?
He might not be.
It's either a teleport or it's a.
I don't think
we're saying like a metaphorical.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a consciousness thing.
Like, consciousness thing where he will leave his body, and now it's just like a dead fucking husk.
Orochimaru.
So this is metaphorical imagery then. Right? It's literally All For One just taking over Shigaraki's body, not physically All For One walking out of Shigaraki's
mentally. And that's where I was saying, like, that mentally to me is metaphorical, but yes, I know what you mean. That he's literally taking control of the meat puppet that is Shigaraki.
Yes.
And if he does that though, and if he does win this battle, that doesn't necessarily mean that all break out of the cocoon that Shigaraki is, and a new being does actually pour out. Like, that still could be the case, like,
you would
even
think that would be,
if it's a consciousness thing, it still could be the case that there is something that could physically come out.
Yeah.
You would think ideally, if this was his plan from the beginning, he would not want to renew himself as still no fucking eyes, scarred up face.
Right.
He wants to take over Shigaraki's body, brand new, fresh. I'm in my prime, G.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah. Why is he still fucked up? Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean he gets to reverse everything that's ever happened, but
in the cell, and it's just a husk of himself, and his consciousness is just being transferred into Shigaraki's body. So I mean, why would he come with that damage?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're right.
Well, he would come with Shigaraki's damage.
He would come with Shigaraki's damage, but in this cracks panel where it shows All For One through.
He's still missing
Shigaraki.
Potato head.
He's still.
And in the vestige space, he does not have that fucked up top portion of his
No, he doesn't. Right. And he almost has Shigaraki hair coming off of himself. So it could still be definitely like an Orochimaru situation. Like, he could physically pour out of Sasuke right now, and it can still be this way. But I mean, a couple of things. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I do kind of want to switch gears a smidge. Yeah. I'm still talking about this, but because we were talking about the speech bubbles and who's talking when.
Yeah.
So let's see here. When when he gets the hand on the face and does
when he's picking
try
his
to
nose.
steal the quirk, does try to steal the quirk.
Yeah,
that is Shigaraki talking again. Finally got a hold of you. One For All is mine, and that's the thing that we were talking about. That it couldn't be. It had to One For All had to be willingly given and cannot be stolen, which makes sense because Shigaraki doesn't know that. And now Shigaraki's in control, trying to steal. He knows he can steal quirks.
And he's running into
trying
Nana.
to steal. Yes, and not only Nana, this is basically what I was talking about last episode, right? Like, this was what All For One's plan is to get to, One For All Vestige World.
Yeah.
And
talk to his brother.
Fight these. Talking to the brother was what I was talking about, but it could have definitely been deeper than that. Talking to the brother as in, I'm going to beat the shit out of all of the fucking vestiges all the way down to my little brother. And then it's time for us to have whatever we need to have. Well, I presumably beat his ass too and am able to take this ability or whatever. But it seems like this was All For One's plan the whole time, right? Like, this is where we want to be. Now we're in this world, and what's going to happen here?
But then it's like 7v2 in this situation, because Nana says, so let us handle this. You can assume that the other vestiges are going to provide backup here. But Nana is like the common denominator inside of both vestige spaces, because we've seen when Shigaraki was like kind of like blooming, when the conflict really started to pop off inside of this arc. You had all of the arms, linked to the hands that grabbed Shigaraki, and Nana was right there with the same hand on the back of the head, pulling Shigaraki, but now the same hand on the back of Deku's head inside of the One For All vestige space, pushing Deku towards Shigaraki. Yes. So you have that dual like imagery there, but Nana is there in both vestige spaces for Tomura, even though it's just Tomura and All For One inside of the All For One like vestige space. Maybe that scene X amount of chapters ago where it showed Nana trying to like grab Shigaraki and like pull him back, maybe that wasn't the actual All For One vestige space back then, and that was purely just metaphorical, like what Shigaraki was thinking at the time. But like inside of that same scene, we had All For One walking out like, what's cracking, bro, let's do this. So you could assume that was a vestige space as well, in which case like that vestige space is not just Shigaraki and All For One, but like Shigaraki, All For One, and the rest of Shigaraki's demons as well throughout his like rise to the villain that he's become now. So it's like, I don't know. Yeah.
So I wonder, will Shigaraki and Nana talk in the space, right? Like
I'm
him talking to his literal 100% mother, right?
For sure. Yeah.
That'll be fucking wild. That'll be hopefully and if this was incredibly emotional.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big deal for Tomura's character. Like if Nana, in all of her faculties, her consciousness right here, starts talking to Tomura, that's got to be something that All For One doesn't want.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely.
But Kiko had an idea that All For One planned this entire thing from the beginning. This is where we want to be. Why would he want to be here if he knows that Nana is also here, and Nana is going to give Shigaraki information?
But that could be the link to break. He has to break it.
Oh,
yes. Yeah. It could be that, or it could be that he did not actually want this to happen. And as you said, Shigaraki was the one who tried to take the quirk
and triggered this whole thing
and triggered the space. Not knowing that he couldn't take it even if he wanted to. Right. And so he maybe All For One did not want this to happen, and Shigaraki took back control of the body, initiated the quirk transfer, triggered this shared All For One, One For All space, and now we are going to get some crazy dialogue. I don't know, it's hard to say.
Something small that just really hit for me was the fact that Deku sees Shigaraki hemmed up by All For One, and I think this is the way I took it anyway. The reason he falls down is because he's trying to run and help him.
Totally agree 100%.
Wow.
Well, and we already
didn't even think about that. That's awesome.
Well, and we already saw, I'm pretty confident, like the first time Deku was in this world, I don't know, 100 chapters ago, he couldn't move then either. He was kind of stuck in place and couldn't move. And it really
Shinsu, right?
Yes. And he couldn't, no, not versus Shinsu. This would be when
Shinso was the first time that he saw the vestiges. Period.
First time he saw the vestiges, not when he was in the world. The first time he was in the world
was Black Whip.
Black Whip. Yes.
Joint training.
And he couldn't move then either. I'm pretty sure he was seeing and trying to move forward and couldn't. And that just makes, because Nana says you can't move in this world yet.
Yeah.
And it seems like 100 times gravity, I just got smashed to the ground, and I will eventually be able to control this world, which means Deku's going to be able to freely access the vestiges and talk to him probably at some point and be able to access this world is what it sounds like to me. And I assume, like we said, vestiges versus All for One. I think maybe linchpin is the word for this whole thing, is going to be the fourth vestige who was questionable. And we don't know. We're going to find out why he's questionable. It's going to throw a monkey wrench into basically operation. The vestiges being able to just, like you're saying, we're going to, 8v1 fucking, 8v2 Shigaraki and All for One.
Yeah.
But we don't know about this fourth vestige. This fourth vestige is a wild card, probably morally gray.
Yeah.
And so, I'm really excited to see. I'm just so excited to see this fourth vestige. Almost as much as anything, almost as much as anything going on right now. It's like I really just want to see this this guy.
Mysteries are always the thing. Like, despite anything crazy that's going on in a series, in the back of my head, I'm always like, well, what's the answer to this question though?
Yeah.
So
definitely,
what you said, Kiko, like now you're making me think that like, why could Deku take a step? He did take a step, right? He took a step and fell down in this space, right?
Yep.
It's because he has, three
more of it under control.
More of the abilities, more of the one for all, right? Like,
so that's the representation.
Yep. And so when he eventually gets control over all of the quirks for the ability, he'll be able to move freely in this move freely.
I really like that because I don't want. I mean, it could happen. It's fine if it only happens in this one scenario where Deku can now fully all of a sudden use all the fucking quirks for everybody. Like, it would be okay if it's only in this situation during this time.
In this space.
And it's not once we get over this. He can't. It would be fine if he could use them all in this space, and he does it, and we need it to happen for whatever to further this plot point here. But then once all this is said and done, it wouldn't be too bad if he... Obviously, he's going to remember that he used them all. He's going to know what they are. Maybe he can't tap into them. Or it's just this whole next arc of his character growth is okay, I know what they are. I can't really use them. I'm going to just, start going down one by one, trying to figure out how to use these, get these to the surface, So I just don't want, at all costs, him to be able to use it all, and he comes out full mastery of all the quirks after this.
He's not now. Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a situation
but
like
not now. I'm saying,
that.
But after, even after all this happens, right? Like, is he going to be able to use all these quirks freely after this? I hope
question.
It's only in this situation.
I 100% agree with you. 100%.
Well, not this arc. The next arc following, though. Like, that's what I mean. After this arc, and he's total, and then this is all done because after. I assume after we get out of All for One, One for All world, whatever, he's going to be mangled and done. He's done. Yeah. Like, I assume Deku to be completely out of any fighting from here on out. And if there is any fighting, which I believe there will be, because Shoto is the only character now in fighting form, which he has to be to fight Dabi off, who's going to try to kill Endeavor, right? Yeah. Like, this... It just has to happen. Or Shoto has to try to defend against all the fucking Legion of Villains or whatever, League of Villains.
God.
Like that would be too much.
What the fuck is gonna happen when Giganto Machia gets here? Deku's done. Endeavor is done. The only Bakugo is done. It's literally just Shoto versus the world.
Giganto Machia finna swoop up Shigaraki and
bounce.
But
why bounce?
There's still a grip of villains that could just jump off.
And just go crazy.
Yeah, Giganto Machia can scoop up fucking Shigaraki and run away. Boom, 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 run away. But everybody else just jumps off, and we're like, no, we're killing the rest of these people now.
These motherfuckers are on their last legs. Why the fuck would we not finish these kids
Toga's not letting dead meat slide. She's finishing people off.
Yeah, dead ass.
Now, for the record, in this chapter, we do get the foreshadowing of what will happen in the future. So on page 9... this is the Giganto Machia, side plot line. We get on the bottom of page 9. We have every single character who presumably is going to be in this fight. They literally say they don't know the whole situation.
Yeah, they're just going to chase Giganto Machia to its destination.
Get over there. Get over there. So Shoto is going to be joined by Uraraka, Tsuyu, Ida, Koda. manga.
Fuck is that? That's manga in the bottom left?
That's
it's
manga.
not. I don't think so.
It's
Is
manga.
it?
It's manga.
That's a manga
is.
page on his face.
But I know. I get that. I was going to ask. Well, and I wasn't going to. I'm not saying for sure it's not manga, but you see manga with the speech bubble head and things appear in the speech bubble. I don't think he's walking around with the manga face.
This might be an ability of manga that has like a golem of some kind that he's sending out into the fray.
Manga
because it was onomatopoeia, right? Like it's exactly. Nick hates him, and I hate him. I tend to
least
agree.
Favorite character, trash.
I tend to agree because it
he already went into it one time.
System.
It makes it weird because it's like nonsense. Reality warping.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
How could a genetically passed on quirk create onomatopoeia that do effects based on the language of what the onomatopoeia? Nonsense. Nonsense. Get out of here. Comments. You try and explain it to me.
Yeah. Oh my god, I would love that comment section. Please explain the manga quirk and why it doesn't make the entirety of the quirk energy system weird as shit.
And you also see manga's fucking hero outfit, and it doesn't look like this fucking tin can that he's wearing right now.
I hope you're right, because I hope to never see manga again, and if it's someone besides manga,
it's like a little inkwell.
Yeah.
Okay. It's definitely manga.
Yeah, I guess because it still does look like a speech bubble behind the page of manga there, the manga page. But
it's a thought bubble.
I just like, so when I saw this panel, I'm trying to look up every image I can of manga. Go Google manga. It doesn't look like this anywhere, and that's why I was like,
definitely right. You're definitely right.
Like,
I just saw the manga page face, and I was like, oh, this has to be manga.
Exactly. That's what I thought too initially too. That's what I thought initially too, and I was like, wait, I just don't feel he looks right.
Totally manga, bro. Because like if you look at manga, Fukidashi is literally just a speech bubble for a head.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So, and I forgot that personally. So then now going back to this, but that speech bubble there is still like, this is just his hero outfit. This isn't his school outfit. This is his actual in the field hero outfit.
He's wearing a page of manga over his face as his mask.
Yes,
That'd
exactly.
Be cool. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying.
That would be actually.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is his in the field outfit, and his chassis or his like upper body gear is an inkwell, like fucking Eagle was saying. That's where you fucking tap the fucking. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's
manga
manga
confirmed.
Yeah.
Wow. So
we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
I was just saying, Nick, does he just show up and start saying bullshit and like start wiping people out? Is it Inumaki?
It's Inumaki Toge. He's got curse words. He's gonna cuss them out.
Koichi. He's Koichi Echoes Act 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's just doesn't make any sense. And I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yep. Yeah, that's fair. Very fair.
But I'm good.
What else we got?
I think I'm good.
That's it for me.
Yeah. Me too.
Well then.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That'll do it, I believe. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did, be sure to slap a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Make sure while you're down there, you subscribe to the channel and hit that noti bell so you can stay up to date on all the new content coming out. Yep. Hit that comment section down below. Let us know what you thought of this week. Ask us questions, chop it up, whatever.
Yes.
Explain manga's ability.
Yes, please.
Good luck.
Yes. Also, visit that link tree in the description box down below where you can find links to any and all of our online communities, audio listening platforms to consume the podcast on, as well as links to support the podcast. If you would be so kind, check out the Patreon. You can obviously subscribe to different tiers of content that we release, ranging from early access to all of our content all the way up to a second shonen-centric weekly podcast that we do.
Yes.
And with all those words said, this will be another incredible, stupendous, fantastic episode of the Project Manga Podcast. Wrapping up, I'm your host, Eagle.
Peace, y'all. It's Kiko.
I'm Nox. See you guys.
And Nickums.
Sarabada.